Slide 20. This is lesson 1. I'm going to look at the vowels now. We've had a look at the letters, and now we're going to see the Hebrew vowels, which are quite unusual compared to English. They're the same vowels, A, E, I, O, U, same sounds, but in Hebrew we don't actually have letters for those vowels. We have little dots and dashes. So here we see the vowels, and little dots and dashes. And we're just using in this example the letter bait, which has a b sound. And we've just put a whole series of dots and dashes, and we'll describe what these vowels are. The first one is called a petach, and it's just a long stroke underneath the letter. So when you see the text and you see a word with a long stroke under it, you know that that is an ah sound, ah as in father. Now the vowel sound generally follows the after the letter that it's under. So if it's under the letter b, bait, then it's pronounced after the letter. So this is a sound after the letter bait. So this is a ba. So just imagine you're just going down like that. First the letter and then the sound, the vowel underneath it is pronounced. So it's ba. Except when it's at the end of a letter. There's sorry, at the end of a word. Then there's some changes, but we'll look at that later. So the first one's called petach, and it's just got an sound. So there's our in A-E-I-O-U. The next one is called seagull. It's these 3 dots. Kind of good way to remember it is, you know, if a bird, a seagull, is actually flying, there's its head, and there's its 2 wings kind of above it. Anyway, that was the way I remembered it. You need to learn these and find some way of remembering it, and a good way to do that is to think of, try and remind yourself of what it is with something, even a silly little image or association. So this is seagull, and it's an sound. As in met. So this is bear. This is a ba sound, and this is a be sound. And again, I'm just using this bait just as an example. I could put any letter in there, and whatever letter it is there, it's that sound of that letter plus the vowel that's underneath it. So here's an sound, and here's an sound. Ba and bear. The next vowel is called a chirik, or hirik, as it's transliterated in English. And it's an sound. It's an I, as in sit. So it's b. So here we have ba, bear, and b. The next one is called a kametz hatuf. It's the same as this one here, which is a kametz, but the same symbol. But sometimes this symbol has a oh sound, as in call, which means all in Hebrew. Sometimes it has a sound, which we'll look at here, but sometimes it has a oh sound. So this is bo, usually pronounced ba, but it's often pronounced with an oh sound. And so here we're saying oh as in cost. And finally, for this line, we have something called a kibbutz. 3 dots in a diagonal line from the top left to the bottom right, 3 dots in a line, a diagonal line. And that's a oo sound. That's as in pull. So this is a bu, bu. So here we have the A, E, I, O, U, the English vowels, and these are their equivalents in Hebrew, but they're not separate letters, they're separate little dots and dashes put underneath the letter and pronounced after the letter, except when the letter's at the end of a word, but we'll look at that at some other stage. So these are what you call the short vowel sounds, and there's just a few variations of these. These are the basics, and these are some variations of them, these down here. The first variation is just the straight kamets, and that has the same sound in the modern pronunciation of Biblical Hebrew as the petach. So this and this, more or less the same sound. It's an ah sound. Ah as in father. But sometimes instead of ba, it's a bo. And you'll soon learn which words where that occurs. And we have another one called a tsire, and that's just like this one. It's a S sound, but it's just slightly longer. So it's it's just been lengthened a bit. So it's a E as in they, So it's either a or a sound. And we have a holum, which is this little dot here. When we have a dot above a letter, except for a shin or a sin, sometimes that's confused with a holum, just because it's a dot, but the holum above a letter means it's an O sound. O as in row. So this is a holum. So this is bow. So this is ba, and bow. And here we have some variants. When we have the kamets followed by a yod, it changes from an a sound, as in father, to an a sound or an I sound, as in my. So this can be by, or it can actually be a bay sound too. Tsire yod. This is an S sound, and it's just being lengthened. Basically, having the yod on the end lengthens it, and it goes from to a. So it goes from to a. This is a sometimes an and sometimes an a, but this is definitely an a sound. These are got identical pronunciation in modern Hebrew, pronunciation of Biblical Hebrew. Chirik yod is an with a yod at the end, and that changes to an e sound. It's like the I in marine or machine. It's actually an e sound, so it goes from an I, from an sound. Up here we see it as an sound, like sit or bit. But down here, when it's followed by a yod, it changes to an e sound. So it's being lengthened. So this yod lengthens the sound from a to a e sound. Machine, marine. Here we have a holum vav, so it's just a o sound, but it's the same. O as in row, but it's above a vav. So this doesn't say bevo or bov. It actually just says bo. The vav is being used. It changes from a v sound to an o sound. it's actually being used as a vowel in this case. And we have a shurik, which is the same sort of deal as the kibbutz up here. So it's a vav with a dot in the middle of it. And that's often a oo sound as in rule. So this is boo, oo. So you'll see this over and over again in every word. You'll see all these vowels. So you need to start committing those to memory. But it's just this. It's this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, and that one. They're the main ones, plus this one and this one. These are just variants of it. And same with these. These are just the same. This is the same sound. It's a patach, but it's got two dots after it, meaning it's hatu for half vowel. So this is called a hatif patach, or patach hatif. It's a patach, but it's shortened. So instead of a long ah, it's a shorter ah. And likewise, this is a seagull. It's a eh sound, and it's just a very short eh, because these two dots say it's a short eh. It's a hatif. And the same here. This is an ah sound, or ah sound, and it's being shortened. So same as patach, seagull, and kametz. These three are the same as these ones up here, but they've been shortened with these two dots, the hatif. They're called the half vowels. So these are vowel symbols, and although that might be quite disconcerting initially, it's just one thing that you'll have to learn. Maybe over 2 or 3 weeks, commit these to memory. And that's the vowels.